Today we will discuss about the power dissipation in CMOS circuits. The static CMOS circuits were very power efficient because they nearly dissipates zero power. Earlier, the power dissipation was secondary design constraint, but because since the number of transistors have increased and the clock frequency has already increased, so the power dissipation has become the primary design constraint. Now the power dissipation in CMOS circuits comes from two components. First is your static power dissipation due to subthreshold conduction through the off transistors. Second is your tunneling current through the gate oxide, and third is the leakage current through the reverse bias diode, and fourth is your contention current in ratioed circuit. And the second component is dynamic power dissipation due to the charging and discharging of the load capacitor, and the second component is your short circuit current while both NMOS and PMOS are partially on. So the total power dissipation is the summation of your static power dissipation and dynamic power dissipation. The total instantaneous power dissipation is given as PT is equal to IDDT into VDD, where VDD is your supply voltage and IDDT is your supply current. The average power dissipation over a time interval of t can be given as 1 by t integration 0 to t IDDT into VDD dt. So the power dissipation in any chip is very important because it affects the device or the chip whether the device is in on condition or the device is in off condition. When the device is in off condition, it will increase the intrinsic or minority carrier concentration, and as the intrinsic carrier concentration increases, it will increase the temperature of the device or the chip, and ultimately the device may break down due to increase in temperature. And when the device is in on condition, it will decrease the threshold voltage and the mobility of your charge carrier, and due to which the drain current would be affected, and hence you may not achieve the desired specific performance of your circuitry. Now we will discuss about the static power dissipation. Considering the static CMOS inverter, suppose the applied input is logic 0. So when the applied input is logic 0, the PMOS transistor would be in on condition and it will be ideally represented by short circuit. So we will have a path from the supply voltage to the output node. So at the output, the voltage we will get is equal to VDD, which can be represented as logic 1. So when input voltage is 0, your PMOS transistor would be in on condition and the output would be logic 1. Similarly, if input is logic 1, then your NMOS transistor would be replaced by short circuit and your PMOS transistor would be in off condition, so it will act as an open switch and your NMOS will act as a short switch. So we will have a path from this output node to the ground, and hence the Vout would be equal to 0. So we can see from the given operation, from the operation, that in so we can see from this, either the input is logic 0 or input is logic 1, either of the transistor is in off condition. So ideally when the transistor is in off condition, no current would flow and we can say that the power is equal to 0. But the secondary effect, they came into existence, like the subthreshold conduction through the off transistor or tunneling current through the gate oxides. So because of these sub-secondary effects, a little amount of current that flow through the off transistors, so the static power can be given as the total leakage current multiplied by your supply voltage. So static power dissipation can be given as the total static current or your leakage current and the supply voltage.